What's up everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Azadeth and for today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys my birth/labor story. I'm very excited to finally be sitting down and sharing with you guys my story, my experience. And yeah, it's been 3 weeks. Baby boy is here. His name is Adonis, if you guys don't know. Also, if you guys don't know who I am, hello. I just had a baby 3 weeks ago, my first baby. It's a boy. His name is Adonis, like I just said, and I'm finally able to sit down and share with you guys my story. I finally got ready. I haven't really gotten this ready like all the way in a very long time, so I thought, well, I'm already kind of, you know, did my makeup and hair, might as well just sit down and film this quick video for you guys. Baby boy is actually downstairs with my husband, his dad, because he's sleeping on him right now, so you probably won't be able to see him in this video, but I do have another video coming up next, which is a morning routine vlog type of thing, and I do show you guys him there. Also, you guys can check out my Instagram and my TikTok because I have a bunch of videos of him on there as well. Today I just want to share with you guys, you know, my labor birth story and just my overall experience. If you guys are a first-time mom, I'm a first-time mom. I was very nervous to give birth. I didn't really know what to expect, but I survived. So with that being said, let's get started. I initially wanted to actually vlog my entire experience, but I don't know, things ended up happening that weren't really planned, and I was in pain, and I just want to have the camera like up in my face the entire time. I have one clip of when we first got to the hospital. I'll share with you guys that in a little bit, but that's all I got. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. My due date was actually on March 7th, and prior to March 7th, when I hit 37 weeks, they checked me to see if I was dilated. I was not dilated at all. I was 0 centimeters. And basically the doctor was like, well, the baby can come anytime now since you're full term. But as the weeks progressed, we got closer to my due date, and I still showed no signs of labor. Initially, I just wanted to have a natural labor. I wanted to give birth vaginally, and that did not happen. I actually got induced and I ended up having a C-section. Every week and up until my due date, I would go on walks with Price, which is my husband. I would eat dates. I drank my raspberry leaf tea. I drank pineapple juice. I did almost everything I could to induce labor naturally, and it didn't really work. I had no symptoms of labor. I was energized. I had no pain. Throughout my pregnancy, I had no Braxton Hicks contractions. I actually didn't know what a contraction felt like until I was in the hospital. My body was just like not really ready to, or prepared or ready to give birth, and I heard that's really normal for first-time moms. We scheduled my induction date for March 10th, which was a Friday, and I was supposed to go into the hospital at 5 o'clock. I was supposed to call an hour before 5 just to make sure that they had room available for me, just because it is an induction. It's more of an appointment. It's not really an emergency, but when I called, all the rooms were, or like literally all the hospital rooms were full, so we had to wait another day until Saturday. We were kind of bummed out on Friday evening because the car was packed. We were already like in the car was on, we're about to head out the garage, and they were like, no, we don't have any room, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow. It is March 11th, and that's Saturday, and we do the same thing. I call an hour before, and they finally said, hey, yeah, we have room available, so you guys can head over here. And that's what we did. So we got to the hospital at 5, did all the check-in stuff, and at 6 o'clock is when I actually got, like, you know, by 6 o'clock I was already dressed in my gown, had my room ready. Price was in there with me. What do we have?
You got ginger ale, apple juice, grape juice.
Is it sugar-free?
You have a soup right here. This is a soup. And this is strawberry jello for dessert.
It's not sugar-free?
Naturally and artificially flavored, 90 calories. Let's see, 22 grams of added sugar, so it's not sugar free. So this is like good.
The first thing we started with was giving me Cervidil. If you guys don't know what Cervidil is, it's just like some type of medication. It's like a strip. They insert it, and it's supposed to ripen your cervix, because I was not effaced at all, nor was I dilated again by 40 weeks and 3 or 4 days. So they had to ripen my cervix with that, and so that takes 12 hours. So I got it at 6 p.m. on Saturday evening, and I didn't get checked again until 6 a.m. on Sunday morning, and throughout the night, so like from 6 p.m. through like the next morning, I was feeling very small cramps. Like I could tell they're contractions, but they were very, very small. I was able to eat my last and final meal of the day, and yeah, we were just in the hotel room, and that's about it. We woke up the next morning at 6 a.m. The nurse checked, or she took out the cervidil, she checked me, and she's like, well, you're definitely ripened, but you're nowhere near dilated still. So it was supposed to kind of do both, but it only ripened my cervix and didn't dilate me at all. So I was still like only a centimeter dilated, like not even. So the next thing they did was to do a Foley balloon technique. And if you don't know what that is, I'm gonna try to explain it as simple as I can, but it's like a tube, they insert it, and at the end of it there's these like saline balloons that they insert with saline, and over time it's supposed to help open you up, like open and dilate you. If you guys want more information on that, just look up Foley balloon birth induction, and you should probably read a bunch about it. That kind of hurt way more than the cervidil. It kind of just felt like they were just checking my cervix, but over the Foley tube or Foley balloon, when they entered it, I was like kind of like, oh my gosh, it kind of hurt. Like I was like, ow, when are you guys going to be done? Because they had insert it, they had to insert the saline, and it was just a very uncomfortable feeling. I had no medication at this point. So once they inserted that, I could definitely, throughout the day, I started feeling more contractions. They were getting a lot more intense, but not like I think too intense. They were just like intense contractions where like I had to hold on to the hospital bed and breathe for a little bit, relax, and the same thing all over again. The nurse and doctor said I could get the epidural at any time that I wanted, really. So I kind of waited until like I pretty much couldn't handle it anymore, and I was like, well, I definitely want the epidural. And so around I think 5 or 6 p.m. I asked for the epidural, and I was able to get the epidural. However, once I got the epidural, if you guys are wondering, the epidural kind of just felt like a very sharp bee sting in my spine for maybe like 5 seconds. It was not that bad, honestly, and I was actually really nervous to get the epidural, but it was fine. After I got that first epidural, when I got the epidural, I started feeling it work. So it's like about from the hips and down, that's when it starts to numb your area, or that's the area that starts to numb. So I started feeling numb on my left side of my body. However, on my right side of my body, when I mean right, I mean like my right hip and all the way to my feet, I didn't feel all the way numb like I was on my left side. It was like more of a transition phase where like your body, you can start feeling that it's getting numb, however you can still have some sensation. That's what it felt like on my right side. I thought it was just a me problem at first. I was like, that's really weird, like why am I feeling this pain? I felt a lot of pain from those contractions on my right hip, and it was so uncomfortable. Like it felt like I got hit by a bus on my right hip. Every time I got contractions, it just felt so sharp, and I was like, what is wrong? Like, is it just me? Like, is it my body that's just like not, I don't know. And so I kept getting epidural shots. I don't know if this is everybody or if it's just me, I'm not really sure. But I had like this little button that I could press, and it'll like send some more epidural down my spine. And I can ask, or like I could press that button every 15 minutes for like one extra boost. And so I was just like pressing that button every 15 minutes trying to see if it'll like numb that side. However, it was not working. I ended up actually vomiting because I was getting so much epidural. And so right before I vomited, I told the nurse, and she was like, okay, well let me ask the anesthesiologist because they might be able to give you a new epidural. So he came in, he was like, hey, yeah, I can give you this or this like other medication, or I can just you know, take the epidural out and add another one. So I was like, okay, well let's just retry. So I ended up getting a second epidural. He took out the first one and re-inserted a new one, and that is when I actually started to feel numb. However, right before he did that, I did throw up, and I threw up, and I guess the me contracting my body when throwing up, I accidentally actually the Foley balloon tube thing came out of me, and so did my mucus plug right before he inserted the new epidural. So a lot happened right before getting that second epidural, because not only was I just a bloody mess down there, but also I was in the process of getting a new epidural. After he inserted that new epidural, the nurse actually checked me again to see how I was dilated, and she's like, girl, you're 8 centimeters dilated. And I was like, whoa. We were like very surprised at how fast I got dilated in the span of those couple hours from the morning till now. It was probably around 7 or 8 o'clock at this point. And so basically what I did at this point, I was feeling numb. My entire lower body was numb. Like, it was so numb. I haven't ate all day, so honestly I just kept throwing up. I threw up a total of 4 times that night. And I was trying to drink, like, eat Jello and drink water. However, I was just throwing that up. Like, at some point I was throwing up stomach acid because of how much I was throwing up. And finally I stopped throwing up. About an hour goes by, and I'm kind of like in this weird position where my legs are up on a peanut ball thing, just trying to help, you know, dilate me some more. So I reached 10 centimeters, and around 9 or 10 o'clock is when they rechecked me, and they're like, oh, okay, like, you know, it seems like we're at 10, so like we can do like a little practice pushing and stuff like that. I was like, yay, you know, like, okay, I guess here we go. I don't feel nothing, like, I don't feel anything in my lower bottom, guys. Like, it is so numb. I don't even know if I was supposed to be that numb. So when I did practice pushing, like, I really didn't, I don't even know what I was just like holding my breath, and I was just like, don't even know if I was doing it right. After 3 practice pushes, the doctor leaves, and then the nurses leave. I'm like, that's weird. They were tracking baby's heart rate the entire time, and so the doctor comes back in, and he's like, hey, so it seems like every time you push, the heart rate keeps going down. And so also, I guess something in my pelvis was just not opened wide enough for his head to go through. I don't know if my baby just had a big head, or if it was like my pelvis that wasn't just ready to give birth. But he said basically the head may not fit through, and even if we do get the head through, we might not be able to get the shoulders through, and his shoulders will get dislocated. So the best option is that we have a C-section. So it technically wasn't an emergency C-section because I got to see my baby afterwards. He was in the NICU, but it also wasn't like an elective C-section where I chose to have a C-section in the beginning. It was kind of like, okay, this is a second option, but it wasn't like an emergency where we had to like rush to the C-section. As we waited for like my baby's heart rate to, you know, go back to normal, we just kind of prepped for the C-section. And honestly, at first I was kind of like, okay, going into the hospital, I had no birth plan. I already knew that things could change and different things could happen. Basically everything I had on my birth plan was to deliver this baby safely as possible, and you know, have me come home safely as well. At the end of the day, my birth plan went as planned. It's just, you know, I did want vaginal birth, but ended up having C-section, which is totally fine. They prepped me for the C-section, which basically didn't really do anything. I really don't remember what they were doing. I was so hungry at this point, you guys. It was probably around 10 o'clock at night. I haven't ate anything all day. I had like no energy in me, so I was just like out of it. Most of the night, most of the surgery was a blur because they took me into the OR. I was falling asleep like every couple minutes. I was falling asleep because I was so tired. I remember just like knocking out and waking up, knocking out and waking up. And then I don't know if I was like super high on the drugs that they were giving me or what, but like I barely remember anything. And I don't really remember. Okay, it was just kind of like, I remember, but I remember everything I was doing. I just remember like them putting pressure on me. I could feel like kind of like them suturing me up. I remember just a lot of pressure on my stomach and telling them, oh my god, I feel that, oh my gosh, it hurts. And like, I remember me telling them that. I don't know what type of medication they were giving me. So anyways, after that, Price was also there with me by my side. We finally got to hear baby cry, and it was so cute. And so as they were suturing me back up, Price was able to cut the umbilical cord. I didn't see any of that because I was, you know, getting sutured up. However, Price was able to do that, and I saw pictures afterwards, and it was super cute. I honestly wish I was able to see that, but it's okay. At least he has photos, and I can look back at the photos and pretend I was there watching him. After the C-section, that took like almost an hour. Baby was born at 12:44 a.m. on March 13th. So literally right on the dot at March 13th. And yeah, I went to recovery, like a little recovery section for 2 hours, and I was able to hold my baby, and it was just super relaxing. I was super tired. The only thing I can think about honestly was just eating. So once I got back after those 2 hours, I was able to eat, and I was so excited to eat something, guys. That is basically my birth story. Hopefully it made some sense. If it didn't make sense, I'm sorry, because most of the time I was either hungry, vomiting, or on some type of medication. So you guys can put the pieces together. But that's my story, and I survived. My C-section scar is basically almost healed, and it's not even that bad, so I'm not really mad about it. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know down below. I'll definitely film more videos. Of course, let me know what you guys want to see, and follow me on TikTok because I post a lot on there. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in my very next one. Bye guys.